Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now show where we get you answers for all of your stock related query. Remember, viewers, you can write to us on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on your screen shortly from now. And do remember, each time you write to us, mention your name, the location that you're writing to us from, along with the buy price of a stock if you purchase, along and the time horizon that you want to hold a stock. And if you've not bought the stock, then do mention the stock name and the time horizon. Time horizon being the key, because in that way we will be able to guide you better. Take your query to our right side of experts. We have Rajesh Agarwal, who's joined us on the fundamentals as long-term queries, while we have Ruchit Jain, who's joined us on technicals. That means short to medium term queries. Very good morning once again, gentlemen, to both of you. And let me kickstart taking all of the queries that we're pouring in. This one is coming from Balan. And he has Bandhan Bank and Tata Electric for some time now, but the problem is that the stocks are either stagnant or they're going down. He wants to know whether he should stay put with both of them or look to switch to GIC International. The fact that the key word that he's used, Rajesh, is sometime. So given the fact that he's used the word sometime, let me come to you for Tata Electric and Bandhan Bank. What should he do? Move out of these counters and instead park money in GIC International, which has been seeing a good run when it comes to order flow inflow as well.
See, although GIC International is a good stock to hold in one's portfolio, but as far as Tata Electric and Bandhan Bank is concerned, both are a hold from our side from at this point of time. Yes, both of them had been stagnant for a very long period of time because of various reasons. One, Tata Electric being from the IT sector, have seen a stagnancy from some time. But going forward, we think the kind of numbers, the kind of commentary it has given, it's high time it's starting moving up. Even in the last week or so, it has given very good up move. I think one should hold this stock considering the kind of order book the portfolio is. And as far as Bandhan Bank is concerned, it's a large set of branches, banking outlets. I think all the negatives have already been discounted about the Assam problem and all. Going forward, I think 225, 230 is quite possible in the next 6 to 9 months. Continue to hold both the stock. If you have spare money, you can buy GIC International.
The next query is from Padma, and she's a senior citizen. She wants to know whether should she sell Chola Finance Investment Holding and Ajanta Pharma, where she's making a 15% profit, and look into buying Balrampur Chini, Lupin and SJVN. Ruchit, what would be your view here? Should she make this shift from Chola Finance and Ajanta Pharma to Balrampur Chini, Lupin and SJVN?
Well, if I look at the existing structures of both Chola Finance as well as Ajanta Pharma, both are still looking positive. So I think although she is making good gains, but I think this can extend further. We have not seen any kind of price volume action which are negative. Pharma space entire has been showing a good outperformance, and Ajanta Pharma has recently seen a breakout above its previous swing high resistances. So I think this outperformance could continue in Ajanta Pharma, and even Cholamandalam investment within the NBFC space. If we look at the stock, is that it has shown a good relative outperformance compared to other stocks over last few months, where many of the stocks has seen some consolidation, but any kind of dips that are coming in the stock are getting bought into. So I would recommend to hold on to both these names. I think these names itself can give you better returns from current levels also.
All right, this next query that I have is coming from Geeta, writing to us from Delhi. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Geeta is writing to us from Dubai, and she has a question, a long-term perspective question. She's holding Pricol with good profits for the last couple of years. With the sector going down, with the auto sector actually seeing some sort of a slowdown coming in when it comes to the inventory levels, the way how the sales are panning out. Rajesh, she wants to know, does it make sense to exit Pricol now and look at something else?
See, if you are a long-term investor, I don't think it's prudent to look at short-term inventory pile-up and all those things, because going forward, I think auto is going to do well, especially from the kind of new launches, not only in IC but EV sector also. So it's better to hold Pricol if you are a long-term investor.
Is coming in from Soma from Kolkata. She has around 100 shares of Paytm. She wants to know whether should she make a shift or sell Paytm and book profits, because she had bought it at around a level of around 590, and since she's sitting on a handsome gain of around 10 to 15 odd percent. Rajesh, what would be your view here on Paytm?
See, the fact remains the company is making losses, and that there are no hopes that in the near future any bottom line would turn into positive. They have sold their ticketing business recently. They're trying to make a lot of things to make the company into profit, but that will take a very long period of time. In the recent past and last few days, I think there have been a lot of price and volume action. And for that reason, you are sitting on a profit. What I would say is instead of booking full, why not book partial profit and for the rest put a strict stop loss and continue with your holding.
Ruchit, would you also agree to Mr. Rajesh's view of booking partial profits given the fact that in the last 2 days we have seen a jump of nearly 10 to 15% in the share prices?
Yes, it is a high beta name where we see that whenever there were corrections, the corrections were sharp. Recent up move is also very sharp. So I think that high top, high bottom structure is there. So considering that the short term trend is positive, but no, since it's a high beta, I think if you're getting decent profits, you can consider booking partial profit. The immediate higher bottom which the stock has made is around 580. So for rest of the positions, can keep stop loss below 580 and continue to ride this trend till it lasts.
Alright, so that's the view coming in on Paytm. Let's move on then. Let's just take this next query coming in from Neha from Bangalore. She's making 25 to 30% profit in HDFC Life and SBI Life. The stocks are under pressure today. Can you suggest a strategy for short to medium term that is up to 3 months, Ruchit? Should she go ahead and book profits or hold? What's your take coming in on both of these counter, SBI Life as well as HDFC Life? She's one of those rare investors who's managed to make profit in these counters.
Yeah, so recently we have seen a good up move in the stock. So I think the momentum readings are a bit overbought from a short-term perspective. So there could be some short-term corrections, but doesn't seem that we would see any big long-term downtrends in the stock coming in going ahead. So I would recommend if it's looking from only from next 2 to 3 months perspective, then we could get some dip towards 680 mark, 680 to 660, which is a good support range for HDFC Life. Whereas for SBI Life also the broader trend remains positive. In the near term there could be some dip towards 1760 to 1780, but these are just short term corrections within an uptrend. So I would recommend if can keep a bit broader time frame of more than 6 months, then it's prudent to continue to hold these positions. For if it's just a short term trade, then can consider booking profits at current levels. But the charts, mid to long term chart sectors are really quite positive for both these names.
Next query is from Shri from Bangalore. He wants to know whether is it a good time to buy Minda Corp for short term. Ruchit, what would be your view on Minda Corp here?
To buy on declines around 520 to 500 range, the risk reward ratio would become favorable over there, because right now if you look at the swing low, then that is coming around 500. So the stop loss would be too far from current levels. So if any existing positions are, they can hold on, but any declines towards 520 to 500 should be seen as a buying opportunity.
So that's the take coming in on Minda Corp. On that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your query. Viewers, don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and let's continue taking your queries. And joining us now on the technicals, we have Foram M.Chheda along with our fundamental guests. We have Rajesh Agarwal, and good morning to you, Foram. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And let's continue taking the queries that we've been taking all this while. This one is coming in from Shri, who wants to know about Minda Corp. Shri is writing to us from Bangalore, wants to know whether it's a good time to buy Minda Corp and what's the short-term target that you would set on this particular counter Forum.
Well, hi, good morning, and thank you for having me on the show. Well, to begin with, I think it's yet some time to wait to get into Minda Corp. There is some more downside. Technically speaking, there has been a bit of a negative divergence on RSI, which means that the stock price is likely to come even lower towards the levels of 525 to 520. So that would be a good level to start entering into the stock, because when the stock prices come down, there has been not too much of volume. So it's a good stock to be in, but just wait for a while, look for lower levels to buy.
The next query is from Sandeep from Noida. He wants to know the long-term outlook when it comes to Laurus Labs. He already has around 100 shares bought at a price of 550. Rajesh, do you think the company will benefit on the back of the Biosecure Act which has been passed in the US?
Of course, yes. It's going to be benefited for that. APIs against witnessing some traction. The negatives have been discounted. They have strong capex plan. And not to forget, they have lost so much of value from their tops of around 700 plus, if I'm not wrong, despite the fact that Nifty is trading at 25,000 levels. To fundamentally, I think now it's a time to buy Laurus Lab for a medium to long-term target of maybe 580 to 600 odd levels in the next 6 to 9 months. So it's a buy from our side.
This one is coming in from Srividya, who's writing to us from Chennai, wants to know about PNB, Canara Bank as well as Bank of Baroda. She's purchased these counters 2 years ago and wants to know right now whether it makes sense to hold or look to exit. What's your take, Foram? The stocks that she's been holding is Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank and PNB, all of these counters for the last 2 years.
Well, all three have actually breached from its intermediate support levels, and we can expect it to remain in a kind of more of a zone. However, amongst the three, I would say Bank of Baroda looks much better comparatively. And right now, it's trying to take support at 230 levels. And from here on, one can even expect the stock price to rebound towards 250. But if it's an investment, it is absolutely okay. But if it's bought from a short term or an intermediate basis, then I think that probably it's better to switch, or if she can just kind of increase her horizon, that is advisable. But out of the three, Bank of Baroda looks much better.
Queries from Veni, and he's a senior citizen from Hyderabad. He's holding around 60 shares of Rainbow Children, bought at a price of 1,520. He's currently incurring a heavy loss on this counter. He wants to know whether should he hold this counter or average more at current price levels. Mr. Rajesh, any view on Rainbow Children?
One can continue to hold. It's not prudent to book profit at these levels. Organized healthcare is doing well. And Rainbow is in a very niche segment where other players are in the multi-specialty clinics. Adding more, I won't suggest at this point of time because there are better choices available in the same space. Maybe a Narayan Hirdalaya or a Shelby would be a better choice than going for adding more into Rainbow Children. But for Rainbow Children, one can continue to hold.
All right, this next query that I have is coming in from a viewer that's Thomas, who's writing to us from Kerala. He has 100 shares of Cochin Shipyard, purchased at levels of 2,300 rupees per share. Forum, he wants to know, can he stay put with this one for the next 1 year? What's your take coming in on Cochin Shipyard? He was actually making really good set of profits on his holding. Right now, the stock has actually seen correction in line with what rest of the pack has actually seen.
Absolutely. You rightly made a mention. The entire pack has seen a correction. Now, particularly Cochin from the levels of 2,900, it's come down to almost 1,840. And I think the purchase price is closer to around 2,300 odd. So I would say at these levels, it's not advisable to consider switching or even adding or doing anything. Consider it more like an investment because the overall space is quite bullish if you look at it from a long-term perspective. So according to me, it may take time for the stock price to move back to its purchase price. It may take maybe around a month or two, but overall the stock is good, and I would suggest to continue holding on to it.
Okay, the next query is coming in. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, the next query is coming in from Chalam from Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh. Is holding 2,250 shares of BEL, bought at a price of 307. He wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter or exit. Rajesh, what would be your view on Bharat Electronics?
Continue to hold. Good product profile, good order book, doing very well. The only thing is in the recent past, the entire defense space is facing some kind of turbulence. But for a longer term horizon, these are good stocks. Continue to hold.
All right, this was coming from Rebecca, writing to us from Kolkata. She has 100 shares of ITC at 424 rupees per share, Gillette at 5 stocks at the price of 6,815 rupees per share. She wants to know at what levels can she add some more in a portfolio. She's intending to hold on to these counters for the next 2 years. Rajesh, I think she heard you a bit too late because the buy price is around 424 for ITC. But Forum, let me come to you to understand, should she add some more and at what levels?
In fact, is technically breaking out as well. So overall, the stock is good. So, but I would suggest that wait for a lower level of closer to around 505 to around 504, where she can start averaging or adding in, because it's a good stock to be in from a longer term perspective. As far as Gillette is concerned, I think she needs to wait for some more time, let the stock price come down closer to a level of around 8,500. That's quite a lot because currently the stock price is trading at around 9,000 levels. So she needs to wait a little patiently for Gillette to add in more, but ITC is something she can get it in the next few days itself.
Actually, Rajesh, coming back to you, we did speak about FMCG index in depth at the start of the show, but did you mention ITC in that?
No, I mentioned Hindustan Lever and Imami because ITC is always a universal pick from my side, and I thought let it be skipped. But when you have asked, let me add to that. ITC is still a buy, despite the fact that I have been giving a buy call from 150 odd levels at 500 plus. I think it's still a buy if somebody is ready to hold for at least 2 years down the line. I won't be surprised if the phenomenal returns is still coming from this that the company is going aggressively on FMCG. The numbers have been good. Cash positive, debt free company. I think everything goes in favor of ITC and they're moving big into dairy and all those things. So it's better to buy ITC at these levels too.
That was the both technical and the fundamental view coming in on ITC. With that, let's slip into a short break and we'll address more of your queries post that.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell on ET Now. Let's continue taking all of his stock-related queries. This one is coming from Nikhil Sharma. He has 23 shares of Gail at a price of 241 odd rupees per share. He's saying that whether he should go ahead and book profits in this one. When can he actually go ahead and book profits in this one? Or should he go ahead and hold this counter? Very convoluted sort of query actually for him. He's put the ball in your court to tell him what's the direction in the charts when it comes to Gail? When do you think that it will actually go back to the buy price and in fact go beyond the buy price for him where he can actually make profits and book our profits?
Well, I would suggest that technically the stock is in neither a buy or a sell zone. It's more like a hold. So I would suggest it's a hold. And he can even look for levels closer to around 240, where he can consider booking partial profits. I wouldn't suggest to exit completely because the long term, the stock is quite bullish. It's in an uptrend. It's just right now trying to take support on a very good important support level of around 100-day. So I'm expecting a bit of a rebound. So I would suggest continue hold on and look for 240 levels where you can consider only booking partial profits.
It's from Nagaraj and he wants to know whether is it a good time to buy IREDA. Rajesh, would you suggest him buying IREDA at current value?
No, on the contrary, I would say why not buy REC or PFC, which are trading at a much lower valuation on what IREDA is trading. Yes, of course, it's in a renewable energy space, which is much more lucrative and much more promising going forward. But when you look at a valuation, I don't have the comfort at these levels. Maybe a level of 200 odd rupees if it comes for by any chance, then it would be a buy. At this point of time, no buying.
All right. This next query that I have is coming in from my viewer Samba Siva Rao, who's writing to us from Andhra Pradesh. He has 15 shares of Thermax at a price of 4,540 rupees per share and he's in a loss. He wants to know what should he do? Should he look to book loss or stay put with this for the long term? What's your take actually coming in on Thermax? Rajesh, I'll take your take on Thermax given the fact that it is a part of the sector that was actually doing well when the entire capex theme was also doing well. The capital goods space was doing well. Thermax was also doing well along with that and it has corrected with the rest of the theme actually. What's your take? For the long term, you think Thermax is a hold?
See, if time is not a matter of concern, one can continue to hold. And if on every dips, it's a buy because order book is good, the company is good, balance sheet is very strong. And the capex theme, although it has dried down in the last few months, I would say, but it's still there. The PSU capex, huge PSU capex have been announced. Not only that, private sector has also owned much amount of capex. So this story is going to be there. But the execution part, order book, these takes times to materialize into bottom line. So continue to hold for at least 2 years.
Well, the next query is from Mr. Mukherjee from Kolkata. He has few stocks that he has bought in the last 2 months. Currently, he's sitting on loss on both these counters. He can continue to hold these counters for the next 3 months to 1 year. And he wants to know whether should he do that or not. The three stocks are SJVN, IRCON and IRFC. SJVN bought at a price of 140, IRCON bought at a price of 309 rupees and IRFC bought at a price of 202 rupees. Foram, what would be your suggestion on these three counters, SJVN, IRCON and IRFC?
Well, if we can consider to hold on from a longer term perspective, it's absolutely a hold. There is no doubt about it. In fact, particularly SJVN is very close to the support level, and we can expect a bounce from these levels also. However, we can expect from I think 2 to 3 months there can be a consolidation in all the three counters, that is SJVN, L1, and IRFC. So he has to wait patiently, but I would suggest that keep a perspective of a longer term so that you can see some good decent gains in this.
All right, this one is coming in from RG Rao from Trichy. He's a senior citizen. He wants to invest a lump sum amount of 1 to 2 lakhs in a mid-cap IT, auto ank or pharma shares for a period of 1.5 to 2 years. Rajesh, which stocks do you actually come to your mind where he will be able to make some good returns when it comes to the mid-cap IT, pharma as well as auto ancillary space?
See, as far as mid-cap IT is concerned, I think Coforge and Persistent are very good picks in the mid-cap IT space. Mid-cap pharma, you can go for ICA or Loben. Mid-cap auto ancillary, I would say go for LG Balakrishnan, which is doing very well. Balance sheet is strong. So these are some of the names which comes to my mind in these three sectors.
The next query is from Venkat Ramani from Bangalore. He's holding 480 shares of Schneider, bought at a price of 826 rupees. He's currently making a loss on this counter. He wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter or sell it if he can hold the counter for the next 12 months. Rajesh, what would be your view on Schneider?
See, it's a long-term hold. Company is very good, strong balance sheet, almost debt-free, good order book. Continue to hold for long term.
So that's a take coming in on Schneider Electric. Let me take this next query that I have, which is actually coming in from Shekhar. He's writing to us from Bangalore. He wants to know about Dr. Reddy's. For the short term, what is the right buy price for Dr. Reddy's Forum? Do you think that it's at an attractive level or it is yet to get at an attractive level?
Yeah, I guess it's required to be just patiently wait for a lower level to buy Dr. Reddy's in particular. Overall, the stock is good. So it's a good stock, got good stock selection, I would say. But wait for a lower level. Currently, the stock price is trading at around 6,650 odd levels. However, I would suggest wait for a lower level of closer to 6,500, which would be safe enough to start buying, even from an trading short-term perspective and a longer-term perspective. So a safe level, I would suggest, is 6,500.
The next query is coming in from Saranya from Chennai. She has around 100 shares of General Insurance Corp, that is GIC Re, bought at a price of 433. She wants to know how long can she hold this counter, how long should she continue to hold this counter. Rajesh, what would be your view on GIC Re?
It's a buy from our side. After the around the recent DOFS, it cracked and we have recommended our clients to buy. This is one of the largest reinsurance player, not only in domestic market, but operating in many international markets, also doing very well. Balance sheet is very strong. At least a target of 500 plus in the near future is quite possible. It's a buy from our side.
Next query that I have is coming in from Ashok Kumar, who's writing to us from Mumbai. He's purchased MRPL, 500 shares at a price of 250 rupees per share. What's the outlook for the shares? He's a long-term investor. Talking about outlook, let me actually come to you, Forum, for the charts actually. How is MRPL looking to you right now? 250 was this buy price. It's way off the buy price. And let's not forget, this one also reacts to the commodity prices, to the windfall gain tax news. So what's your take?
Well, technically speaking, the chart has turned weak for the stock. The stock has already now started moving below the 200-day moving average, but that does not mean that he has to immediately exit on a panic. I would suggest wait patiently for a while, look for a bit of a rebound towards the levels. He is likely to get very close to his cost price, that is closer to around 240 to 45. At that point of time, maybe he can consider switching. As you rightly made a mention that the stock price does get affected and turns out to be very volatile because of the commodity prices as well as the windfall tax. So I would suggest it would be better to switch, but wait for a while. Do not consider exiting at a loss at these levels.
Next query is from Rakesh Gupta from Delhi. He has 150 shares of Nestle, bought at a price of 2,500. Forum, what would be your short-term view when it comes to Nestle?
Overall, the stock is good on Nestle. So the stock price is in fact in a consolidation, but on RSI basis, there's a positive divergence. So I would suggest it's a hold. And from a near-term perspective, look for a target of closer to 2,650.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Nestle India. Let's take the next one coming in from Shrikant, who has Delta Corp, 100 shares of Delta Corp at a price of 126 rupees per share. Wants to hold for the long term. What will be the upside for the stock for the next 6 months? The viewer has actually thrown a googly at us. He's a long-term investor, wants to know long-term view, but 6-month view as well. Let me take both of the views then. What's your take coming in on fundamentals for Delta Corp, Rajesh, and then I'll come to you, Foram, for 6-month view.
I think one should avoid this company. There is some amount of news which might come about GST being lowered and all in the near future. That would give an upside. That would be a right time to book profit. Otherwise, I don't think this kind of stock should be kept in a long-term portfolio. It's better a trading play rather than being held as an investment.
Foram, what's your take coming in on Delta Corp? Avoid is a take that Rajesh has, and also because there is a lot of news flows also surrounding this particular counter. But what's your take coming in on Delta Corp for 6 months?
I completely agree with Mr. Rajesh. Now, overall, the stock is quite right now in a sideward direction. But even if you look at the upside, is capped towards 155 to 156 levels. And with some kind of a news, maybe the stock price may not even reach those levels and turn out to be volatile. And we can expect some further downside because the downside levels the support levels are closer to around 110. So to avoid that kind of a risk, I would say to avoid this counter.
All right, avoid is the consensus view coming in on Delta Corp, but that was the last query for today. Thank you so much, Rajesh, Foram, as well as Ruchit, who had joined us earlier on the show, for being a part of the show, resolving all the viewer queries very patiently. And with that, viewers, we are out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. So it's a goodbye from Soumit and myself and the team that put the show together. But stay tuned, we'll be back after the break with Markets at Noon.